Welcome to the 1.8 second podcast, episode 2. My name is Cody, and I'm here with Andrew, and we got a whole list of stuff we're going to talk about today. We've expanded our horizons.
We
We're
have.
not talking about McLaren. We're talking about F1 as a whole and this upcoming season and things that have happened literally this morning.
Yep.
It's awesome.
Starting off this past month and this past week, we've had two new team names for Team Sauber and Team AlphaTauri. AlphaTauri announcing at the end of last year that they would be going into a new team name this year. So starting off with them, they are now known as Visa Cash App RB or Racing Bulls F1 team. So Visa Cash App
twister.
Racing Bulls F1 team. But
Good luck saying that
internally
10
with
times
the
fast.
team, I bet you I could. Internally with the team, they're going to be referring to themselves as VCARB for Visa Cash App Racing Bulls Formula One team.
Yep. I think
Don't know
it's
how that
stupid,
factors in, but
you know.
it is a little stupid. But Sauber or Alfa Romeo is now going to be known as Stake F1 Team Kick Sauber.
What was their name before they got bullied into changing it?
Alfa Romeo?
Yeah. No, like remember when they like released their name and everyone's like that's stupid and then they shortened it?
This?
Is this?
They didn't change it.
I thought it was worse.
It's pretty bad. But the problem with their team name is betting or gambling is illegal in 4 of the countries that Formula One goes to, and those 4 will be Australia, Spain, Belgium, and Qatar. So for those 4 Grand Prix, they will actually be called Kick F1 Team, and I think that's why it's kind of like staggered like that. It's like it's Stake F1 Team Kick Sauber, but it's Kick F1 Team at 4 countries, and they'll have to do a completely different
Livery.
a completely different livery. They'll have to do a different livery as they cannot be called stake or have stake on their cars. And we've seen this over the course of Formula One with having new sponsors come into the
McLaren,
sport.
for example, with views, I believe, correct?
Yes. With views, the Netherlands, it said love, and it had a bunch of fans in the love. They had it written a bunch of names. In another country, they had OXXO, which was, I think, for the Hungarian Grand Prix or the Mexican Grand Prix, which is a super big chain of convenience stores in that country. Don't remember which one specifically, but I saw that not too long ago. But that's our new names. What got any opinions on those, man?
I'm excited to see the liveries, especially for
VCARB?
because I saw a fan designed one of it being like blue and green, and that would be awesome.
And silver.
Yeah, that'd be very cool. Kick, I assume, is probably gonna have some green in it. Stake F1 Kick.
It's reportedly going to be green and black.
That might be cool, maybe.
Yeah.
They do it good.
I mean, they haven't done anything good in a while, so
Okay.
I hope they do this
Got me
one
there.
thing. I hope they do this one thing good. But continuing on, we're going to start talking about going into next year with these new teams. I just ripped out one of my hairs.
You didn't need it anyway.
Yeah. We have the topic of Red Bull. We'll just start off with the most powerful team. Do you think they could continue that dominant
Yes.
streak? Oh, wow. That wasn't even hesitation. You don't think McLaren, Mercedes, Ferrari can bring the fight?
I think they'll bring a fight, but it's Red Bull.
I mean, Mercedes is going back to the traditional style of
It's,
having side pods. They
it's a
could
rocket ship.
actually be competitive.
I do think this season will be a lot more entertaining, competitive.
Yeah.
But I think Red Bull still,
It's still Red Bull.
Yeah.
Still way ahead of everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, I know when
what was it that Christian Horner said? Like they literally stopped developing mid-year last year. Like,
yeah, they're already working on next year's car.
yeah, it's chalked.
And by next year, I mean 2025.
It's chalked.
But continuing on, the addition of Madrid to debut in 2026. Do you think that's going to get rid of Spain? Do you think they're going to try to make room for it on the calendar? Could we see 25 races in 26?
Maybe, I don't know.
They could be a little chaotic. You'd have to
Yeah.
do those like doubleheader style back-to-back weeks.
Yeah, I did see a I think I sent it to you, the animated
Williams.
the
I don't think that's very accurate to what the track will actually look like.
but it kind of looked terrible. Not gonna lie.
I'm not excited for it. I like Spain.
I was reading the comments and everyone's like, I already see 0 overtake opportunities. This looks terrible.
It is going to be half street circuit, half traditional circuit, so we're going to get a good mix of both. But the street circuit parts are where we're not going to be able to see overtakes with being around. I think I don't even know. It's a facility in Madrid. That's all I know. They haven't given us a whole lot of information on it. But continuing on that could be in the end of Barcelona, which just had a track layout change from or back to the old style, which is way better than whatever they changed it to for whatever reason. I simply hate them for that. So we could see Barcelona disappear, which would mean the Spanish Grand Prix would just be Madrid. And I don't think people are looking forward to that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's subbing out a traditional circuit for a street circuit, which not guaranteed. Granted, there are only 6 street circuits of the 24 races, so it's not like street circuits are overtaking what it feels like it. Because in the past 3 years, I think we've had the addition, or 3 or 4 years, we've had 3 new street circuits come, and that'd be Miami, Las Vegas, and soon Madrid. I don't mind a street circuit race personally. It's very entertaining. One mess up could be a crash because they're very tight, very slippery. Because it's a street,
right?
So I think it makes for more entertaining racing, but it creates less overtakes for everybody but Red Bull because Red Bull just disappears down the straights. Moving on, we have the best potential for silly season coming up this next year. I know a lot of people don't like silly season, especially amongst the actual teams in Formula One, because it's like you could lose one of your team members halfway through the year, and then you're stuck with a person that's no longer going to be with you the next year.
For now, we're fine. We're chilling.
Yeah, for now we're good.
Us two, we're fine.
McLaren, we're great. We're great.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have to worry about it till next year, realistically, unless Lando signs an extension this year.
Which would be awesome. Would love that.
So speaking of silly season, there are only 6 drivers as of today confirmed for 2025. And that'll be Lando, whose contract expires in 2025, Oscar, whose expires in 2026, Lewis, whose expires in 2025, George, whose expires in 2025, Max, whose expires in 2028, but he does have the ability to opt out of that at any point, whether it be Red Bull isn't performing and they're third in the constructors. I believe that's still part of his contract, or if he just doesn't want to race anymore. Because
let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
What are the odds, you think, after new regulations that Max is just done? What if he just doesn't like it?
Very possible.
Like if it's bad and he doesn't enjoy it, you think he's done?
If Red Bull isn't competing, he's gone.
I don't know.
Max has made it very obvious to not only Christian and the team, but to all of his fans. He's a very blunt person.
Right.
Most Formula One drivers are. He has made it obvious that he wants to do other things. He doesn't just want to race Formula One his whole life. He wants to do Le Mans. He probably wants to do the Indy 500. He probably wants to do rally. He probably wants to do other types of racing. Like he probably is going to end up in NASCAR one day when he's like 40. Because like, why not?
Right.
He lives, breathes, is racing.
He has dreams of him behind the steering wheel, I swear.
I mean, on top of that, he's already won 3 races this year. They're iRacing events, but he won the 24 Hours Daytona. He won an F3 iRacing event. He won an F4 iRacing event. Like, he doesn't stop racing. And that's probably why he's so dominant, which is annoying. And then we also have Charles confirmed for 2025 as he signed a new contract extension this morning, but we have no idea how long it is for.
Yeah.
It could be he has an opt-out sometime after 2026 if new regulations don't work out in their favor, or it could just be it's his contract forever until he doesn't want to race anymore, which isn't unheard of, but it isn't likely.
Yeah.
But I mean, Charles doesn't like his mental health, so I could see that as a possibility. And then moving on from the confirmed drivers, we have all the rumors circling. There has been Ferrari talks with Carlos for a 1-year extension is what they want, but he doesn't want a 1-year extension. He wants more than that, and so those talks have stalled out. But there is his dad, Carlos Sainz Sr., who races for Audi in Rallycross. So there's a huge potential of when Audi takes over the Sauber team in 2026 that they sign him.
Yeah.
I know they're looking at him, Valtteri, Nico Hülkenberg, because they're a German company, German team. You could see Mick Schumacher make a reappearance on their team. The possibilities are endless for them, realistically, and for Carlos. Continuing with Ferrari, there are rumors that they're looking for Alex Albon. So is Aston Martin. So is the likes of Mercedes potentially. That's probably why they only signed George to 2025, but Alex's contract ends this year. So they could try to convince Alex to do another year with Williams, as Mercedes has sway with Williams because they have such a great relationship with them. They loaned George to them for 3 years. It's like a Mercedes junior team without being a Mercedes junior team, realistically. And then Sergio,
he's in the hot seat.
He's been in the hot seat for a while now.
Yep.
What I have here is he makes his own future.
Yep.
If he does good, he could get that seat guaranteed for 2025. But he also has that threat of Danny and Yuki right behind him. And that threat is even bigger with the fact that Liam Lawson could be guaranteed a seat in 2025. Yep. It is rumored / been said by the F1 team, or by Helmut Marko, which they need to get rid of him because he is just stupid.
He spews.
That he's guaranteed a seat in 2025. And if they don't give him a seat, I guarantee you he has a seat somewhere else. There's no way he is not on the grid next year. Next year, year after, whatever. He could be in the car next year. If Sergio doesn't perform in the first half of the season, Danny or Yuki, whoever's doing better, is going to that Red Bull seat. Liam is getting that AlphaTauri seat.
Yeah.
Sergio is just going to be out of a seat.
And
mid-year.
Liam deserves a seat.
He proved he was good enough. In a terrible car. Whew. And then another question I have about all this silly season stuff is, could we see more rookies in 2025? And if so, how many? Because we could be seeing Liam Lawson, who would be like half a rookie. Yeah. He had, 3-4 races under his belt. I mean, he would still be guaranteed or considered, I don't know why I keep saying guaranteed, considered a rookie in the grand scheme of things, as he hasn't done a lot of races. I know Nick DeVries was a rookie last year, and he had only one race under his belt, I think, with Williams or something like that. I think, it was Williams, and he scored points in his debut. And that's why he was that's why he was almost guaranteed a seat coming into 2023. Then he didn't know how to drive a car. Yeah. Back to Formula E. Formula E it is for him. What do you think? Tio Porcher, Oliver Bierman.
I'll be honest, I'm not knowledgeable of any rookies that would even be.
I said two that are pretty much
deserve a seat.
Tio Porcher is the F2 champion last year. So he is definitely in a reserve / Super Formula role for, I think he's a Sauber development driver. It'd be kind of impossible to not see him being a Formula 2 champion. I mean, once you win Formula 2, you're almost guaranteed a seat eventually.
Right.
It's just win. I mean, you look back at 2019, you had 3 people from Formula 2 go up all at once. It was the person that won, the person that came in second, and the person that came in third. They all got a seat. And it's just terrible for the people in F2 right now that there are so many young, talented drivers and old, talented drivers. Yeah. Fernando, Lewis, Nico, Danny. Although I think Danny's days are numbered.
Yeah, I think it could be Danny's last year, potentially.
I mean, my theory on that is if he gets that Red Bull seat halfway through the year, he retires after. He said he wanted to retire in a Red Bull seat. Yeah. Technically, he's in one.
Yeah.
Racing Bulls. Stupid. But possibilities are endless, and that's why Formula One is beautiful. It's a cutthroat world, especially when you race for Red Bull. Moving on from that, we are less than a month to winter testing. So I wanted to know your predictions for fastest to slowest or slowest to fastest cars on the grid as they are at winter testing. As we all know, that can change in 1 week's time going into Bahrain. I mean, Bahrain realistically has six practice sessions, 3 that are very long with winter testing, and then 3 that are, an hour long? I forgot, it's been so long. I need Formula One back now.
Soon.
So you go ahead. You hit me with yours, and I'll hit you with mine.
I'll be honest, I forgot to type the list, but I'll tell you this.
Okay.
I think the top 3 are obvious: Red Bull, McLaren, Mercedes.
No Ferrari in the top 3?
I don't know. It's those 4 are close. Well,
yeah. Based
Red
off
Bull
last year.
Here. Red Bull's on their own. The 2, 3, and 4 are close.
I mean, last time Ferrari said that they gained 7 tenths in the offseason. They didn't.
Yeah.
They lost 7 tenths because Red Bull gained freaking. I keep almost doing that. I can say it, but whatever. Gained freaking 7 seconds on everybody else.
Yeah. I think it'll be interesting to see what Aston Martin does this year. They started off good last year and then kind of fell off. It'll be interesting to see how they do. And then the bottom tier teams will probably remain bottom tier. Williams, Haas,
V-Carb.
I don't think it'll be that much different.
Okay.
To be honest.
All right.
McLaren will be faster, I hope.
I mean, it seems like it at least.
Mercedes will probably be faster. Red Bull will be fast because they're always fast.
They are always fast. Here's what I got. At number 10, we got Haas. 1, they fired Gunther Steiner. Terrible decision in my opinion.
Me and my homies love Gunther.
Iomo, or however you say his name, I don't know how to say it, and I'm not sorry. He's not important. He was the technical director, almost got fired a couple of years ago because the car was so bad, and when they made upgrades, it made it even worse. That it just doesn't make sense to me that he's technical or team principal now. He's even said they're going to be way slower, like they don't plan on being fast. Their goal by Gene Haas, their owner, is to get 8th in the championship.
Yeah, that's crazy.
They're not getting that. And then I got Steak/Kick, just because they weren't good last year. I don't think Joe's that guy. He's going to be in the hot seat this year. If he doesn't perform, at least he gets to perform, or gets to race in his home country in China this year as it's added to the calendar. But I think this is going to be his last year in Formula One. I think we see him move to IndyCar or something along the lines of that. And then I got Williams, who are going to take a couple steps forward, but so are, the likes of V-Carb. It just feels weird saying that. And having Logan kind of cripples them. It only gives them one leg to run a race on in a 3-legged race. How are you going to run a 3-legged race with 1.5 legs?
Right. You don't.
And then I got V-Carb, as they are reportedly, and I don't know how, with how the rules are, getting several parts from the RB19, which is Red Bull's car in 2023. So that should propel them up in speed significantly. I think the reason we're going to see Danny in a seat and not Yuki is I don't think Yuki is able to handle the speed of a Red Bull, whereas Danny should be able to if he's in the right mental state, which seems to be based off last year, if he's more confident in himself, and if he's getting those Red Bull parts, which he's used to Red Bull cars, and then being, very precise on how they are, I think he's going to have a great year. Next, I have Alpine. They're always middle of the pack. I don't think they're going to make any moves on Aston. I don't think the driver lineup is good for them. I don't think Esteban and Pierre can work well together. I just don't think it's in their liking to do that. Esteban Ocon is starting to look like Sergio Perez back when he was in a Racing Point, which became Aston Martin. And then I have Aston Martin because I don't think they're going to be taking too many steps to get into the likes of Ferrari, McLaren, Mercedes, Red Bull. But I think they will be faster compared to everybody else. I think it's going to be a 5-team race and then a 5-team race at the bottom. I think it's going to be very split between the top 5 and the bottom 5. Then I have Ferrari because they're claiming they got 7/10, and I think they got plus 7/10 in addition of speed, which isn't any.
A singular tenth.
And I mean, their car wasn't terrible last year. They finished 3rd in the constructors, and they've changed it completely. But then that moves to McLaren, who are continuing with the progress they made on their car last year. And realistically, based on the trajectory of last year, or how last year went after Austria, the only way to go is up. And if you go backwards, you got a problem.
Right.
But that problem should have been fixed because that's how it was a couple of years ago. And we've changed technical directors. We've changed engineering. We've stolen guys from Ferrari and Red Bull. We've gotten top-tier guys from their team to come to us. So obviously they see something good going on here. I think McLaren is returning to the likes of old. I think we could be challenging for P2, P3 in the championship. And then I have Mercedes, simply because Mercedes is just incredible. They always have been ever since they got into the sport. 2021 was their last year actually battling for a championship. And then after that, they went to a 0 side pod design with the new regulations, which was terrible. And then they went for it again last year. But they still got P2 in the championship, which is incredible, with a terrible car, with a design that limited what they could do with their gearbox and their power unit. So, They're redesigning their gearbox and everything for the new design with side pods. So I think we're going to see a great championship battle between Mercedes and Red Bull, and if not McLaren in that battle too.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, even Max has stated he's not scared, but if he thinks anybody on the grid is going to be taking the challenge to him, it's going to be McLaren. And then I put Red Bull up top because it's Max Verstappen and a Red Bull.
Yeah.
There's no stopping that.
Nothing you can do.
Nothing you can do. But that's all I got.
That's all I
That's
got.
my list.
Yep.
Anything else you got?
I don't think I got
Any
nothing.
predictions for the first race? How about that?
Max Verstappen.
Max winning? I think Max is actually going to DNF due to a technical issue. And I think we're going to see a Lando win in Bahrain. And if it's not Lando, it's Lewis. If it's not Lewis, it's Charles. And it's going to be a Ferrari 1-2 if it's Charles. And Oscar's
I
going to
feel a
finish
McLaren
like P4.
podium. Race 1.
I think we can get a podium.
Mm-hmm.
If we kept up the performance from last year, I think we get a podium.
I think so.
That's it.
That's it. That's all I got.
That's it. Well, thank you for tuning in to the 1.8 second pod. It was a great time with you guys.
Yeah.
Any closing statements?
Stay fresh.
Whatever it takes.